Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025, and you are joining us for a midday Java. Listen, do me a favor and go ahead and hit that like and share button, and also invite others to come into the Java Cafe because we have, I'm going to say, an exclusive. I owe her that honor. We have an opportunity to speak with former, and I will try to only say this once, former City Councilor Tania Fernandes-Anderson. And I think in the context of this week, it's important to maybe speak with someone who is post being involved. There's a lot that you all learned a lot the last 4 episodes, 2 yesterday and 2 today, 3 from those that are running for the presidency and 1 that declared that as things now will be vice president, and just gave some commentary about familiarity with colleagues. And this is a board decision. But I think this year, as I said in the last episode, that I think the community has a different lens, especially thanks to Councilor Mejia and others. And so we're going to further the conversation. We are going to have some point of check-in where she is comfortable in reference to, I say it this way to just quiet the trolls, served her time, and things like that. So we may talk about that a little bit. But first and foremost, we're going to ask how Tania Fernandes-Anderson is doing. She knows that it's an honor thing. There's still some electeds who are not electeds, and I still call them by that because it is an honor. But I'm going to do my best, as she told me last episode, to call her Tania. So without further, which is so strange because it's just so casual. Can I just say it once? Counselor.
I think you could say whatever you like.
It's you're still counseling. You're still, so anyway, because it's not just a job. Anyway, I'll back up a little bit. Good afternoon, Tania. How are you?
I'm good, thank God. How are you, James?
Honestly, I'm tired because your last 2 former colleagues and the 2 yesterday, they just reminded. I text Spark FM, Woke Woman of Color Radio, and Urban Heat, and just put a text. I said, listen, a lot of people don't understand that how you're left after a good interview. That interaction, it extracts a lot of energy. Then there's the whole tech of control and everything. So thank you for asking. I'm tired, but we have to have this conversation. 1, to just see how you're doing, and 2, I know you have some thoughts and observations on a couple of things. So welcome again to the Java Cafe.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I came as an empty capsule, so I do not have perspectives on what happened. I saw a little bit of Gigi's interview, and then a tiny glimpse, maybe 2 minutes of Santana, and then I turned it off. But yeah, I think I have some questions for you too. Like what did they say? What are their reactions? What's going on? I've not been keeping up, but I look forward to a transparent conversation, hopefully, with you today.
Well, we can flip sides, and you can ask me some questions of my impressions. I don't mind sharing them very
awesome.
Honestly and authentically. But Council, Tania, I have to ask, how are you doing as Tania? I said, in the opening that something happened. You spent some time away, and then okay. So where are things? How are you doing? And I'm not making light of the how are you. I'm making light of the yesterday.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the grace. I'm good, thank God, by the graces of God. All praise is due to God. And I continue to say, God is the witness of all, of everyone, of everything. And I'm comfortable in that position. I don't feel the need to explain myself or express, the exact story, in detail. I took responsibility for a thing. And those who know me. So I believe that I'll leave that story there. The statute of limitations on things, how the federal government works. So I'm good. Prison is hell, right? Like prison sucks. It's like a tragic comedy. It's just everyone is a lot of high functioning, intelligent, Black women, a lot of high functioning, intelligent women, period. Being taken away from their families for white collar crimes. I don't say this to in any way justify myself or put myself in a position of, victimhood. I'm just saying that I observed a lot, I saw a lot, and a lot of it doesn't make sense. But here I am, and life is good. Life goes on, and that's it.
I see a different smile and demeanor um, with you than in the last conversation. And I mean, of course, I will presume that there is just an exhale. You mentioned statute of limitations and whatnot. Let me ask you a question that I thought of as you were talking, Tania, and I have a flow, and I want to get some thoughts from you, and then allow you to ask questions if you would like as well. Does your experience, is it going to further inform? I asked Councilor Worrell, what's next for him? In the context of your experience and what you've already done for the reentry community and those incarcerated, how has that experience, and you're a woman of faith, I'll say this too, what the enemy meant for evil, God may turn around and use it for the good of the work and your impact. And did your experience further inform what you will do next?
I think all experiences inform your next steps. I'm not going to say that some sort of epiphany of self-prophesizing, whatever. Like I don't have that position. I am grateful for the pain, whether again, whatever my position is, God is my witness, and I'm okay with that. And I think that, the question is whether or not like it informed me in the way that I want to put out a book in the future to explain or to tell the story as is, the full detail, right? Taking responsibility for a thing has details. Where exactly did the money go? Like what actually happened? And so I think about those things in terms of like giving people a story that hopefully will help inform their, I don't know, whatever, help them in any way. But I don't claim to be anyone that isn't in any position to help or elevate anybody. I want to struggle and strive to be humble enough to accept and be grateful for the process. And I still don't have the answers. I don't know what the future holds.
All right. Again, you've been here. You know that how we flow is largely contingent upon what you most recently say to me. And so I hear faith. I hear assurity. I hear humility. I want to challenge you a little bit. And I love the humility you have, but that cannot overshadow, ma'am, your impact. You were in a post, an advocate, an activist in some spaces. And I just, with that humility, I just can't allow that to overshadow nor negate your impact. I'll just name it. The website, all the other stuff that you did, the almost mini Roxbury Hood D7 Amazon type of thing, that you, and people are still talking, about the model you set. So I just wanted to say that. And so, I love the energy of your spirit, because there seems like that there's a freedom. And so, Tania, with that being said, I want to ask that from the outside, now looking in, may I ask your thoughts? And it's up to you. We can start with D7, or we can, start with at large. Where you have had the space, time, and ability to pick up a story, see something on social, do you have any thoughts around the things current in Boston Poly, namely D7? And then we'll talk about this presidency race as well. This presidency election, I guess.
Conundrum.
Good word.
Okay, first, I guess D7, and I'm going to talk fast, and I'm sorry for those listening, because I feel like this time we're not going to do a 3-hour interview. So I want to, I want this to be a fruitful conversation. So for D7 race, I think, it was very clear that I supported Saeed Abdi Karim in the election. I thought that I believe that he's a good person and could do the work and had a track record. And I was very transparent with people about running, people that had expressed to me before that they wanted to run. I went to them and said, you know, there's this thing pending and you should run because it's not fair for me to hold on to it, not knowing what's going to happen. I care too much about D7 and its constituents, and I want people to be ready to run, not sort of last minute, right? And people were hesitant to run because I told Wawa, I told Saeed Abdi Karim, I told a few other people that I wanted to run, like Kristen Halbert and others that I believe could be good candidates to run because I wanted D7 to be protected. With that being said, then a whole like slew of like people came out and the slate was not, in my opinion, not a good one, right? So you then had to choose from options that you felt that from what I hear from constituents that were not going to be efficient in terms of like following up with the work that I had done or just what D7 deserved. And, you know, to me, it was sad that one, that the situation had taken place. So my heart was broken, one, because of my responsibility and whatever happened to in the situation with my case. So whatever, like every step, everything that took place, again, I am responsible. I may not be a thief, right? I may have not like benefit from the money, but who cares? Like, what were the steps prior to that led to whether I was trying to help someone, whatever happened. The point is that even if I didn't pocket the money, it doesn't matter. Like, I was responsible for it and I took responsibility because I believed that I was in a position of power, one that could create conflict. You know, my best friend worked for me, and then it ended up where it ended up. And so for that, I was devastated. I just hurt for my constituents, and I wanted the best for them. Then when I saw the options, I felt wholly responsible. Folks weren't ready. Maybe there were candidates that could have ran if they didn't anticipate, right? If they anticipated something or me leaving and by any reasons. And so it was just a very sad option, like a list of options. And then when it was the last two, you know, I don't know what Culpepper is going to do. I know that I reached out and then I joked with him. I was like, hey, don't get comfortable. I'm going to take my seat back. And then he was like upset, of course. He's like, don't even try it. And my whole thing, it's like, okay, but are you going to do the work? Are you going to be another, like, you know, is it going to be like a Mayor Strong council body? Are you going to fall into that? Or are you going to actually hold the administrative accountable for your constituents? I don't know that yet, but I do know that from what I've observed and what my constituents have said, that they're absolutely, a lot of them, not happy with his past. And I leave that to the people that are involved in like all of this minutia of things that I'm hearing to be able to speak on it themselves. As far as the at-large, I really liked, you know, a couple candidates that came in new, and then, but I also knew what was going to happen. I knew that Santana was going to win. I knew there was going to be the usuals, the incumbents, and I knew that Michelle Wu would support him. You know, with the funding, you saw that like a whole bunch of money came in last minute, and we know how that works. We know that he was good. At least for me, doing the numbers, I thought he was going to win. So I didn't invest too much into like what was happening, obviously, because of what I was going through. But I was looking at it and I was like, what a sad state. To Mayor Strong City, the at-larges will remain. The district council, Mayor Wu didn't have much power in D7 in terms of like influencing the vote, but you saw that Lydia Edwards came in and, you know, the Globe then later endorsed Culpepper, and you knew then that that was Michelle Wu's pick. And now here we are, and we're going to they're headed to the council president vote. And it's just been very interesting to hear that Coletta announced that she has the votes. It's interesting, but not surprising. So
in what manner do you mean, Tania? Because this is, as I said to all of them, this is nothing new. The wheeling and dealing. You were on either one cycle or 2 cycles ago when a lot of us were like, well, wait a minute, y'all are voting for Ed, and then there was negotiations. You got ways and means. So this happened.
I could break that down for you. So basically, when we were going to vote for, we were all thinking about, well, not all, but majority of the electors of color were thinking about Ricardo.
Yep.
But there was this thing where Ruzi, Councilor Jen, was not very close to Ricardo and Kendra and Julia. And Ruzi was like, well, actually, I don't have a relationship here, but I have a relationship with Kenzie Bach, and Kenzie is going for it. And then Kenzie was sort of like demonstrating, and this is where, when you look at the Boston Magazine, they were talking about me, and somebody said, oh, she called me racist to my face. It was Kenzie Bach. I didn't call her racist. What I said was she needed to look inside of her to understand her biases, whether or not she was racist. And the point is that Kenzie Bach was saying that the reason why she didn't want me to be chair Ways and Means is because it was her baby and she had to protect her baby. And I said, you do realize you're putting your foot in your mouth even further. Like, now you're telling me that you got to protect your baby from the Black woman who's incompetent. Like, okay, got it. And so, like, I then had to talk to her about back and forth, and she lost my vote in that sense, because what kind of leader doesn't believe that a Black woman can handle Ways and Means? And her response was, it's your first year. And I was like, yeah, but it was your first year when you had it. So what's the difference? It was clear to me that she had her own biases. So then we moved toward Ricardo. But then when we realized that Flynn or Bach and others had brought their vote to Flynn, Bach didn't want to look like she was voting for the white guy, like outwardly, like, you know what I mean? Her appearance. She then said to Ricardo, okay, how do we negotiate this? I brought the information to Ricardo that Bach was moving the other direction because she was waiting for Lydia, whether Lydia was going to become Senate or Lydia is going to stay. And Lydia would hold on to her vote because if she stayed, she would want council president herself. So she didn't actually commit her vote to Bach. And so Bach is like in this limbo, doesn't know what to do. Ricardo's like, okay, I got 4 votes. Ruzi's like, but there's issues there. Ricardo can be a little cocky. I've said that before about him. And so Ruzi was like, I don't know about Ricardo. And then the vote didn't go to Ricardo. It just went. And so I brought the information to Ricardo, and Ricardo was like, you know what, just for that, I definitely think you can handle Ways and Means. I believe in you, Tania. We're moving this way. We're going to Flynn. And the best we can do is lock in the best committees for people of color.
Can I interrupt you and ask one question? We're going to get this education. I tried to explain it a little bit earlier, and I know some of the construct and how they operate have changed through administrations and tenures. But can you break down for us a little bit the relevance and the importance of committee assignments?
Oh, absolutely. So basically, GovOps, what we call government operations, GovOps is basically where the votes take place. So there are different types of filings, as you know, right? So you can file an ordinance, you can file a hearing order, you can file resolution, you can file home rule petition. It just means that the ordinance is law, that the resolution is just a statement that we are saying on record, this is something we like. And the home rule petition is a law, but that has to be passed on a state level as well as a city. And the other ones that I mentioned. So the hearing order is something, it's exactly what it sounds like, a order for a hearing, something to hear, to listen, to converse about the dialogue, about the topic. And so GovOps is so important because that's where laws get passed. And the Ways and Means Committee, you have the committee chair has autonomy, right, to be able to say, well, this is the final product. This is what how we want to pass the budget. And so you can negotiate with the committee chair of Ways and Means on where you want your money to go to in your district or in the areas in Boston for those who are at large. And so that holds a lot of power because then the chair of Ways and Means is negotiating back and forth with OBM and the mayor. The first year, the mayor was a rookie, so she didn't really understand like how to really maneuver this. And so she allowed me to have a whole lot, but also because I think I am a good negotiator. Yep. I have to start doing more of that. And so I was able to get like a whole lot of funding. And on top of that, I went into Bach's committee, which was what did she have? COVID? She was the chair of COVID. And so you could also say to the mayor OBM, okay, but what about ARPA funds? Can you bring that to community as well? And then I'll be able to support or work with my colleagues to vote on your budget this way. Councilor Coletta, as you know, Councilor Lara at the time was the one who was spearheading with community to reallocate funds, to youth jobs. And that created a whole bunch of controversy. But not only do you have power to be able to say to folks like, I'll move your amendments, I'll be able to put this on the final product, I'll be able to put this and this and this and this in the final product, but I can't do that. So it's sort of like a give and take thing. But you also have the power to be able to say, no, I'm not going to put that on the floor to be heard. But councilors have power to say, I move for a motion to, for this to be heard, for a thing to be heard, and bring a new amendment, which you saw Lara do. Last minute, she said, not her version, but I want to add this motion to it, to add an amendment to the budget, because I want more money to youth jobs. And she's a gangster for that, and I respect her wholeheartedly. I love my baby Lara. She knows that. And then when she did that, you saw, you can allow it. Someone can second the motion so that it can be allowed to be heard. Once it's being heard on the floor, then you can vote for it. But the committee chair still has like a whole lot of power, because, as the chair, I'm telling you that I'm going to move your pieces, and I can also, and you're moving my pieces in your committee. And so everybody's like, I heed to the committee chair, and that is the power, because they want to be able to respect that position, because they want you to respect their position in their committees.
And these committees, let's just say public safety, public health, education, government ops, there's ways and means. I think we're now going to have Councilor Mejia was successful at bringing post audit back.
So a post audit, she named it something different because she wanted to be very specific on
something about accountability or
different things that it's supposed to be for.
Yeah.
In case people, and Councilor Mejia is very much about transparency, accountability, but also accessible information to the constituents. So she wanted to name it in a way that constituents could understand exactly what its role was. And in the end, we ended up, basically, like when she took it and she started to get more acclimated in her role, more comfortable, you would see her use it to its full advantage. I think that post audit is a very underestimated committee. It is one that you can actually do so much more with. We're talking about, you could literally audit each department, like post a thing. So you can come bring it back and say, I want this to be reported in this way, and I want these line items, and I want these spreadsheets. Like, you can actually ask for that. And then if it's not done, you're basically exposing, right?
Yep.
Whether or not the city is following the law or a policy. Either way, I think that Julia has really found her power in that, and I hope she has it again.
That's a good transition. However, I wanted to share one comment based on what you said about communication. One of your constituents, a resident of D7, you were the only counselor in D7 in the past 13 years who emailed us constituents virtual meetings to keep us up to date on things. I'm not confident we will get that again. And that is sad. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to share about the impact. I'm going to back up a little bit, and then we're going to go into the presidency.
If I may, thank you, Deanna. Miss you dearly. And I'm still accessible, Tania for Boston, if you ever have questions about any city services or anything that you don't get answers on.
That's one of my truest tests of someone committed to this. Even when they're out the position, will they still do the work? And there's full confidence there.
So sorry.
No, you're good. I'll go to the presidency before so are you dropping something today that, in 20, this is 20, in 27, are we looking for you? I
did use the word joke.
Okay. All right.
I don't know what I want to do. And
no, you know what? Let me back off of that, because no pressure. You deserve right now just to.
Yeah, I'm enjoying my grandbaby, and you know, my family, my grandma, you know, my grandmas, I have two, thank God. You know, and I'm here with New Beginnings. Like I do a lot of volunteer work, and yeah, possibly taking on consulting something next year with her, with Stacey Borden. Shout out Stacey Borden, a guardian angel who's just been there
Shout
for
out
me.
to Miss. Is she in their background? Tell her I said hi.
No, she had a knee surgery,
Okay.
and yeah, so she's healing and in recovery. But no, she's amazing, and not because she's offering me a job, but because this woman is just, she shows up and she's just the real deal, man. Like
Yep.
if you want, you know, honesty, transparency, if you want real work, if you want a fighter, like this woman is amazing. Um, yeah, and shout out to Miss Elma. Love you, Miss Elma.
I love it. I love it. The celebration of queens and mentors and just love. And we need so much of that right now. Um, I will ask you, Tanya, for perspective on, you know, the presidency. And do you agree that, first of all, we're right in we don't, as constituents, we don't have a vote in this at all. Correct?
Correct.
And is it been have you in the past got phone calls to influence your vote for president?
Interesting. Yes, but no. Yes, I have, but not to the magnitude that I'm hearing that it's happening today.
Yeah, but can I ask a clarifying question there? When you got those calls previously, if you were to give a percentage between regular, degular, everyday resident voters versus, and this is no disrespect, they're voters, they're residents, they're taxpayers, but was it more developers? Was it more other electeds? Was it more influence? Your calls were from more constituents?
No, there were stakeholders.
Okay, that's a nice way to put it. Thank you. I'll start using that.
They were, I mean, I didn't get calls from developers, but I did get calls.
I'm just saying that folks who typically aren't
they were like people that are already in the weeds, like
exactly
civic leaders who are used to this thing and know how it operates.
Yep. The usual, a different level of stakeholders.
Usual influencers.
Thank you. I done learned a couple of things from you in the past 2 minutes. Stakeholders and usual influencers. And so, you know, that has happened. Are there any observations that you have, Tanya, that are very different this time, either in timing, in energy, you know, what just are your observations that there's references from all of them about my colleagues. You've only not been a colleague less than 6 months.
Yeah. So, okay. Here's the thing. I wanted to like really think about and be accurate in my observation. We'll start with Coletta since she's, you know, claiming the votes, right? Coletta's an interesting person. Like she's never developed a relationship with me. And we never talked. Like we just had one of those relationships where she knew what I was about, and it wasn't going to be the same. It was the day that she gave me a ride. We were at an event for, I think, Councilor Jen. And on the way back, I was like, oh, you guys are going back? Can you give me a ride? She gives me a ride. And then we talked. Of course, now it's one-on-one. So I asked her, like, hey, why were you using the N-word? And I saw her interview, and, you know, it was beautifully put. My God, she sounded like a robot. But also, like, was she reading the answers? I don't know. It looked like it. And we're going to be really honest. Look, Coletta, when I asked her about the N-word, she was like, yeah, I was young. That was stupid. I shouldn't have talked like that. She knew that back then too. And it was a matter of choice and culture wherever she was and what was allowed for her. And now she's in a position where she has to do it differently. And the reason why I say that is because she's half Mexican, half Italian. And yet I said to her, so you're half Mexican, so Italian, not white. And she says, no, I'm a white woman. And so from there, I was like, okay, cool. So you understand your perspectives. You know exactly what identity you want to choose. And yet you were using that thing, and you wasn't a baby. You knew exactly what you were doing. Okay, fine. She was stupid. She'd made a mistake. This is what she said. Her words, not mine. We move on to policy. I go, cool, whatever. That's you. That's okay. You're a white woman. Got it. We move differently, and then finally she realizes like there's some tension because I'm over there like, you know, blackity black, like all about us, whatever. And I'm all about white people too. If you're vulnerable and you need support, that's what I want to, you know what I mean, fight for.
Mhm.
But she would vote against those policies. Her policies, as she named them, you would see that there is nothing about her work, and I know she's watching right now, so good for you. There's nothing about her work that demonstrates that she was ever, you know, prioritizing Black economic development or the most vulnerable populations. There was like some strife between her and Councilman Mejia at one point because Councilman Mejia was like, "Oh snap, the Latino women were being kidnapped and things were happening, unresolved crime, you know." And Councilman Mejia filed and, you know, mobilized people. And, you know, Councilman Mejia, she's a
Mhm.
badass. She comes in and she's like, come on, let's go. We're fighting for this. And she got upset and she came because Councilman Mejia put me as second. She came and asked me like, hey, when it comes to my district, just like your district. And she talked to me like, you know, like she was like elbow checking me. And so I basically said to her like, cool, you know, I understand it's your district, whatever, but I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, right? And from that day on, like it seemed like she knew that her position was way over there because she couldn't face me. She took back her budget. She took back her vote on the budget. She votes for BRIC. She supports policies that are actually opposite from what she says she represents. In the last year, I started observing her and I started noticing like, oh, this chick, she's kind of like, you know, becoming more polished. Her delivery is becoming different. Her vernacular, you know, her parlance completely shifted to one that is pleasing of what a leader should be or whatever. But it felt very robotic to me because her votes again were anti-Black. Her votes again did not support equity, as she said, because she's someone who will literally tell you she will vote one way and then come back. OBM or Michelle Wu's people, the mayor's people will come in and be like, hey, vote this way. And she'll switch up on you. She has no word. Then when you look at Santana and Santana's policies, and again, not because of personal feelings, I love everybody. You know me, like I love everybody. But when you look at Santana's policies, shout out to Santana for everything LGBTQ. He's like the LGBTQ ambassador. Dope. And then when you look at other policies, though, and when you look at how he ran education and, you know, the criminal justice, I'm sorry, just short of what leadership or vice presidency should be. Then you saw him, you know, mishandle the budget vote. And even with Michelle was upset with him at one point because he was sort of like on the fence and he didn't know how to vote. You know, we saw him get emotional and talk about that vote. But again, not ready to make decisions and just stand on it. And so that's the feel that I got from him. I think he's a really smart dude. I love his sister. I think his sister is a genius and she's brilliant, beautiful girl. But when it comes to like leadership, you're just being put in positions to, you know what I mean, to carry this thing, to carry the mayor's agenda. Then say that's what it is. I respect that more. And then you got Rudy, who she has to do what Michelle tells her to do because she is in a position where she's growing her career. She is ambitious, and everybody knows that, and she is dismissive of anything other. So if you come and you're in the community, Rudy or anybody else, if they know that you don't vote, they're not listening to you and they're dismissive. They're just going to be like, yeah. I got it. And that's exactly how Rudy sounds. And then she'll move on. Here's what happened. So a short story. When Rudy was becoming president, she'll tell you that it was my vote that got her to be president because she dismissed me and Julia and some other folks because she thought she had it in the bag. She announced it to the press, and then the press was like, okay, Rudy has the votes. And then she realized that Julia had mobilized a community and the community was pressuring to move votes to Brian. And when that took place, she knew. I came to her and I said, sis, like, and she knows how much I love her. I love her to death, but I can't stand the way she moves because she'll tell you she's going to do something and then she takes back her word. So she literally told me that she was okay with me. I said, I would give you the vote if you make sure to prioritize Brian the next time. He's a Black man. When's the last time we had a Black man as council president? And she agreed. She said, no, Brian, me and Brian, me and Brian, me and Brian. Do you know what she says now? That and before I left, she was telling me how close she was with Coletta. Her and Coletta are so close. They're besties. Are you kidding me? Are you out of your mind? Do you not remember when you promised that you were going to vote and you were going to support Brian? And don't we understand what the importance is of voting for a Black man as the council president next? And you want Coletta, why? Because she changes her votes all the time? Because she's misleading? Or because she has shifted and now we should honor her for no longer using the N-word? Which part exactly? I don't get it. And people have to hold all of us accountable. Yes. Ruzi, you can't tell me that you didn't say it. You swore to God. I took your hands and you swore to God, as God is my witness, that you would vote for Brian. And now it's shifted and you're besties with Coletta? No, I don't blame you. I get it. It's desperation. And I guess we all deserve mercy. Michelle Wu's telling you to do it. You got to do it. And whatever is promised or whatever Michelle's already paid favors to you, now you have to pay back. It is what it is. It's politics. And that's how it works, people.
Can I ask a question there? And I'm just going to be very frank with you. The most superficial one, I guess I would ask first is, as a politician, you get it, correct? With the caveat of you saying at least be honest. That this is because from a pundit, strategist, operative, political standpoint, she's doing what electeds do. I've said to her on the thing about stacking the council. I've said that to her live and on the show. And so, but you get it from the political standpoint, but where your concern is about the individuals that you named were that you would like them to be honest about and none of them are saying they beef with the mayor, but you're asking for more transparency, that we are more aligned.
I get where you're going with this. Look, I can say to you, I can say to Ruzi, and I can say to Coletta, and I can say to Santana and Pepin, to be honest, that they're beholden to the mayor. But can I say that to developers? They're also beholden to the mayor by way of land acquisition. I can say that to anyone who gets a city contract, they're beholden to the mayor's purse. I can say that to the employees. When you look at 13% of the votes of people coming out to vote, and then 8% of Boston voted for the mayor, of that 8%, how many people are employed by the city or contracted by the city or is getting land or is wife of the developer or husband of the contractor or child or nephew or cousin? So you don't say anything because you know that Michelle Wu, the mayor, is going to rule with an iron fist. And if you go against her, she will remove the contract. She's not gonna come to you and be like, hey, Jimmy, you're not gonna get that contract, but something will happen and you will not get that opportunity. And that is just how it works. So who is to blame here? Is it the person that needs to feed their kids, so the contract or the job, or is it Ruzi, who is also in the same position?
May I ask you this, and we can go a little bit deeper here. Is it also because these are, I think you would agree with this statement. These are unfortunately, it's no disrespect to, these are players that are dictated by the, what do you call it? The playwright of the charter. And
everyone is a politician. What we have to do as a community, and not just point fingers at Black people or whatever, because everyone is a politician. The gentrifiers that are coming in quietly and lobbying and passing their agendas, politicians. The single mother who has to go to a meeting to show face, to show that she has some sort of capital, some sort of power, politician. Or the husband of the woman who owns a business and needs a contract from the city. Everyone is a politician. The way that the system is already set up is that it's a mayor-strong city, and it is not Michelle who created that. The mayor didn't create this situation. She came into it and she learned from the good old boys that this is how you do it. If you don't show that you are in charge and that you're the leader, then you're either for me or you're against me. And so Michelle has to rule this way, or that she doesn't have to, but whatever, that this is how she has been able to do it with the time constraints that she has. As she said before, she came in, she wanted to be more effective than Marty Walsh, and she looked at all of the things that she wanted to do, and she wanted to go as fast as possible, because then she could say, I did it. Here's my checklist and here's my timeline. I have this much time before the next election. Now the metrics are going to come out, right? Numbers are going to come out about the mayor, about the city of Boston. Have they been impactful with housing, economic development, or health or transportation? How effective, how efficient have things been? And there she will either retreat because the numbers will be flawed, completely wrong, or they will be accurate. And then she'll have to leave, because what does that say about her? Can she last, these metrics? Can she come out? And if the numbers are not in her favor, has she been an impactful mayor? But back to, the city council, in order for you to be fully effective as a politician, you cannot do this job wholeheartedly transparent, because in order to be efficient, you do have to do the back and forth and the push and pull and the council vote and the negotiation.
Wheeling and dealing, as I called it. Yeah.
Wheeling and dealing. And can you actually be fully honest? Can you be actually fully transparent with your constituents? No. If you want to be effective, no. And I invite anyone to talk about this. It is true. And so the people on the outside, the people that want the job and the contracts that are watching, those are the most that are more interested in being involved. They're like, oh, these hypocrites or these people, blah, blah, blah. But remember that you too are in situations where you have to leverage, where you have to negotiate and do all of that. And so people don't have the time to actually, put themselves in other people's shoes. But it is what it is. Like, we're all politicians. And I wish that people would have the more honest conversation of how much can you negotiate and be effective and still do the right thing.
That is one of the reasons, Counselor Tania, that politics is changing. I would love to hear a little bit of a thought that with Baker not getting on and whatnot, what did that say with the woman getting reelected, despite the differences of policies and whatnot between the two? But that's the thing that has kept me from even considering, because though it's changing, it hasn't changed. And I know that there's an element of if you want to win, you got to do this. And if you want to get this done, you got to do that. I think what I just heard from you was not only you understand that it's, and you said we're all politicians, so that's clear. We don't have to repeat that. Transparency specifically around what you're negotiating. Hey, I had to, in order for us to get this, I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I had to give up this. In order for us to get this in the next budget cycle, we're going to have to forego this. And are you saying that you would like to see more of that type of transparency?
I'm saying that it's not possible.
But hold on, because you said something like this before, Tania, and that you know me, I'm emotional and whatnot. That's just, that is so hard.
If I come to you and I say, hey, James, I have to negotiate a thing with John. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give John this, and in order for me to get this, and blah, blah, blah. And you do that. And then once when I show you my hands, you know exactly how to completely break that down. Like, I'm not going to be successful. And so you can get to John before I even go back to John to negotiate the thing. So why would I show you my hands? And so so some of it has to be hush hush, and some of it has to be like, okay, well, until I show you, like Coletta, for example, what did she get promised when she changed her vote on, BRIC, or when she changed her vote on the budget that was going to support youth jobs? And she negotiated something. She didn't come back and say, hey, Tania, by the way, I voted, but I'm going to come back and pull this vote at the very last minute, at the end of the night, and change my vote. And you're not, those the budget is not going to pass. Those amendments are not going to go through. And but I'm going to benefit because I'm going to get something in my district. You can't do that, because if you tell me, then I'll go back to, whomever she negotiated with, and I'll say, if you do that, then I'll do this, right?
And that's the disingenuousness of what you're breaking down. And we've talked to Council Mejia, and we've talked about systems and disrupting them and whatnot. As much as I was hopeful on election night about some of the sentiment that comes with the results of the election beyond things present and some of the minutia of things, and it's not just Boston. What I'm hearing from you is that politics is really, it's nasty.
It can be nasty, and it's still one of the most influential or best ways to make changes and help people. And so, and I said to you before, politics is probably 25% ego, 25% crazy, 25% heart, 25% hardworking. And it is that formula. You have to have the crazy, the ego, the heart, and the hardworking, the work ethic. So it's if you want to help people, but you also have an ego and you also feel like this is a place for you to be able to maneuver and multitask and do all this crazy stuff, and then you start getting the adrenaline of helping people, of the savior complex, of this ability to be able to adapt and evolve at the same time, it becomes addictive. Because then, one, it's self-preserving, because how are you going to continue to keep your job and pay your bills? And I guess two, it's that addiction to the adrenaline, and they can't deny it. Any of them can say that, no, for me, I'm not a politician. No. Sorry. Like, shout out to my baby, Council Mejia, but it is what it is, sis. I told her all the time, you're a politician. We all are. But in terms of Councilor Worrell, to put this into context, Councilor Worrell maneuvered Ways and Means in a way that I gained like new levels of respect for him. I already respected him. A lot of people like in the community, and especially I hear this with civic leaders in some Black communities. Oh, Worrell doesn't have a backbone, or he's not fighting hard enough, because they expect the Black man to come in and rah-rah, but they don't understand that he is actually hardcore rah-rah in the background. And that is really how you want to do it. You want to be the diplomat, and you want to understand when to pull out the iron fist. And so he maneuvered Flynn and what's her name? Erin Murphy. And he maneuvered, seriously, I forgot her name. He maneuvered the white counselors, the more, conservative appearing, in such a masterful way that it really showed us like it was like a masterclass in how to handling difficult personalities, conservative personalities. And Councilor Jen knows that, the whole like Coletta knows that, but Coletta, I think, was, in this condescending tone, like, oh, you handle it masterfully, but now you think you're the better candidate for the council president when you have done nothing. And yes, she was very sweet and polished in terms of government ops. But again, when you look at her policies, in my opinion, Councilor Worrell has demonstrated more of leadership. And it's not just, okay, we need a Black man. No, he is ready. And he is that leader with the backbone who's been fighting for us, who is completely unwavered. Like he doesn't shift. He is steady and consistent in his message, in his agenda. And I think that's what a leader is. So Councilor Louis-Jeanne doing this, I don't know, this idea that she's going to vote for Coletta, I hope that's not what's going to happen, because again, she told me that she was going to make sure that she prioritized Councilor Worrell. We pulled Councilor Worrell back to prioritize Councilor Louis-Jeanne as the president. I could have went and voted for Worrell instead of Louis-Jeanne. Instead, I moved it to her because she is the dark-skinned Black.
So here goes an example.
Prioritize her.
Here goes an example of that negotiations thing that I get, and then he comes, and then now,
this all happened. And she knows it. Worrell knows it. He might be polite and not say it. Councilor Mejia, I love her for being a fighter and being able to do that. I think Councilor Worrell fights in a different style.
Yeah,
we will see more from him. But this is a man who works with data, who really truly understands the problem, who implements metrics, not like the way they did ARPA, like let's spend ARPA, but then later spend money to do metrics to figure out whether or not it was equitable, which was like silly. Councilor comes with data and scientific, like empirical, like research. And that is what you want, responsible leadership. And I just don't understand why Pepen and Santana is going to talk about Coletta as though she's the better candidate for this. Just say Michelle Wu got us in office. We know that we're beholden to her point blank. Councilor Weber, who never gets mentioned because he's like unassuming and like, underwhelming in some ways, but you don't remember him much. But guess what? He is one of the top people who aligns his vote totally with the administration. And as much as he wants to say that he's not carrying water, he is. So what exactly are we doing? I think the only hope here is Councilor, what's her, Brighton?
Brighton.
Liz, sorry, I didn't mean to forget your name.
You said Brighton. Councilor Brighton is in her district.
No, I said, what is it, from Brighton?
Oh, from Brighton, okay.
Liz Braden probably got more balls than these guys. Like,
hold on, Councilor, don't be careful, because we don't want nobody to I don't want nobody to mess with you, but I know what you mean.
Oh, mess with me? What? I don't know what do you remember the quote that Malcolm gave about messing with him?
I thought you was gonna say, listen, they didn't mess with me. They can't. No, I'm always
no. Listen, it's like Councilor Santana and Pepen. You can't possibly tell me that Liz Braden, the white woman from Brighton, Austin Brighton, is going to make more sense than you. And this is probably going to drive them to go and talk to Braden. Braden, you got to be with us because then you'll make us look bad. But Braden has common sense. She's an intelligent woman, and she aligns with us in votes more than Pepen and Santana, believe it or not. She aligns with us more than Coletta. She aligns with us more than Weber. And so that's the part that doesn't make sense, where Lu Zhen votes the right way for the most part, but she came in like, it was like this. It was like,
wasn't there a chart? Somebody did a chart about
like me and Julia was up top, but she had more because I was absent for a vote. And then it was Brian, and Brian was absent for a couple of votes. And then it was Rudy and Braden. And then comes
Weber was, I think, the top, right? Wasn't Weber the top?
He was the top, but Coletta, Weber, Pepen, Santana all vote. Even Flynn, who talks trash. His numbers were not with us. He was down there, with the conservative stuff. And so, and even like I'm interested in what Fitzgerald is going to do too, because I've worked with him when we was with the Menino administration, and he's cut from the old cloth. Let's just say that. But I won't say exactly what he said to me, but we talked recently, and he is aware of the expectations of the old guard, and he's aware of. From my experience, you work with him. What I heard from him is he's evolving away from that old school. Everyone evolves after the first term, because the first term you have to play it safe so you can get reelected.
Tanya,
what? It's true. Like
it may be, but could two things be true? And then also,
it's not like Lara, who was like bang, 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 bang. Like Lara, and the only reason why I lasted 2 elections is probably because I'm in D7 and Black people had my back, and the cool white people from South End. But other than that, like Lara came in like me, like bang, 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 and they figured it out. They were like, "You're out of here." Ricardo came in bang, bang, but his district loved him, and then they completely try to like massacre his reputation with that nonsense. And then you have Pepen and Santana. When you watch them, their policies were so safe. I mean, Santana, again, he's like the ambassador of the LGBTQ plus all things policy, all things LGBTQ Boston. And I love him for that, but can we do more? And he did some housing. I liked his ideas. I know that I co-sponsored one. And then, but Pepin was playing it super, super safe. When it came to city services, he was like, okay, this is my strength. That's what I'm going to do. And then there were some ideas that he put on the floor that was like, Councilor Anderson already did that. And then we were like, okay, well, how do we do it again or whatever? And then the next year when he filed it again and it was my idea, I didn't care. I don't care as long as it gets done, right? Yep. But so it was just safe and like artsy city services, Pepin, LGBTQIA, some housing, Santana, Coletta, environment, some housing, Coletta. But when it came to policies, when it comes to policies, and she was talking about equity and all that stuff that she did. She plays it safe, so safe. If you talk about racism in Boston, or if you talk about, racial disparities or economic drivers in Boston that's going to help Black people, Coletta will be quiet completely. She'll never get up to comment. If the LGBTQ plus IA, everybody comes in that chamber, everybody has a heart and everybody gets up and talks about it. And no one will talk about, and that includes Fitzgerald, right? Like, he's a nice guy. He knows how to present. He's white. He's male. He's very comfortable in his position. When he talks, you're like, oh, I like that. He's strong. He's masculine. He knows what he's talking about. But he'll never make a comment about racial equity. Like, and of course, Flynn. Oh my God, Flynn will be that guy who'll be like, I have a neighbor who's Black. He'll be like counting how many staff members he has of color. He'll be like telling you how many Cambodians and how many Asians he has in his district. It's weird. And then there goes Aaron Murphy, like wholly flawed, who is just trying to hold on to this job.
Wholly flawed, WHOLY or HOLY? Wholly flawed.
W. And then it's like this woman has been through so much pain and hurt, and you want to be able to be like, oh, I get it. She's a hurt person, hurt people. But she's someone who really knows how to take advantage of opportunities. And if you're down, she'll kick you further. And she's racist about it. It's just, and then, so how is this vote going to happen? Michelle Wu's going to say, I need Coletta to be there because Brian is too strong. Brian fought me too hard on the Ways and Means.
In the budget. Yep.
And in the budget. And it has to be Coletta. And when you look at the votes who Michelle has endorsed, what was her name? Reardon against Campbell. Why? What? Doesn't even make any sense. And then you have like every time she has an opportunity to endorse, it's going to be like a white person against a Black person. And historically and presently, it is what it is. None of it is personal. I don't feel like angry about it. I'm just saying it like it is. Like, if you have someone, you need to go back and look at Ayanna's vote too. And how
that was the one where, because during the election, people throw up 2 times where I clapped Michelle. When I ripped her for voting for Billy Linehan, and when she hired a firm to engage with the Black community. Oh, I get screenshots often from people about, you cool with Michelle now, but remember this? So I remember that. I remember that. Can I ask you, because but
you're beholden to Michelle too. You not. Think about it. Let's just be honest about
it. Name how so. You can ask your questions now. Come on, let's switch.
Okay, question. Do you get any city contracts?
I have had a contract from the Health Commission where I produced and did 6 weeks with young people to produce a film around COVID and mental health from the Health Commission. I had, when John Barrows was there, which is under Marty, had a contract to do 4 shows for Java with Jimmy. I presently do not have any contracts with the city. And
she needs to give you one. She needs to give you one.
Tanya, don't. We're going to take a look. You lean that way and I'll lean this way, and we'll just cut it up later.
I'm just saying. Wait.
Because, Tanya. So no, I do not have any contracts, and I'll say this. I said it publicly. I purposely did not. People, and I feel a little bit bad because some of the opportunities were for, and rightfully so, marketing certain things from city services that they may not be too well at getting at audiences. I felt bad in one way. I wasn't getting those resources to my audience. The other way I felt it was my pocket. I purposely denied going on a retainer on the campaign side, and I don't have any active city contracts because even though it may not have been wrong as a commissioner, it may not have been illegal, but it was just weird of going after everything. And I'm the commissioner in the city of Boston. So to answer your question, nope. And I purposely, I'm not, huh?
Oh, snap.
It's because let's keep it 100. There's a belief out there that I'm on somebody's payroll. Somebody from the state house called me last year. I said hello, and they said, so are you getting paid from the campaign? Are you getting paid from the city? And the ability to unequivocally.
Does any of your family members get paid from the city?
Immediate, no. And then cousins,
Friends?
Now, what do you call now? My definition of friends have changed. Hold on.
Again, it's not
very small. Look. It's a very small list. So I can say no, most of my close friends said the same thing you said a few minutes ago about what are you doing struggling financially last year? What are you doing? And you got this. Most of my friends
you're like, you know what you're like? You're like the Worrell's endorsement to Michelle, and now no endorsement from Michelle for council president. You're like that negotiation. That's what you're like.
It's just for me because there was a couple of things, Tanya, and I don't mind having this conversation with. There was a couple of things that came up. One, longevity of friendship. Two, she's a woman. Three, that I think that the ability to kind of see some of the behind the scenes, like learning some stuff here with you, having them text combos, because I still.
Here's what I think, James. I think that it is okay to be supportive of Michelle. And the reason why I think that it's because it's never wrong to be kind. Right. And whether or not we agree on policies, you should still be kind and you should still be supportive. If you like her, you like her. If that's
I learned that the hard way. I haven't always been that way.
If you like her, you like her. If that's your friend, that's your friend. Yep. And Sharon Durkin should be like, yeah, that's my girl, and that's it. And Santana should be like, yeah, that's my girl, and I got her back. That's it. And so you are the right example because you just like her and you believe that she deserves support, and that's okay. It's okay to be in your position. What's not okay, I think, is it's not okay that Michelle's not supporting you financially.
I'm glad this come up, Jesus. I need it. I want to get, and whether I was on a contract, I told them when Michelle paid for an interview in 21, she paid for an interview. And I said, listen, she paying for an interview, but let's understand this. I'm still going to, y'all can have about 30% of the influence. I'm still going to ask the questions. There's a part of me that wants to keep the unequivocal, no obligation, no beholdenness. But even if I did, because there's still, what I did have city contracts for, I performed a service. I spent time with them young people for 6 weeks.
If you are afraid of losing your credibility based on being beholden,
I'm not afraid. I'm more of afraid. Can I be honest with you? I get more sense of threat about my credibility with community is from my support of the mayor. Let's keep it 100. That is always a issue for me because clarity sometimes comes across.
Say that again. You get more what?
I get more threats. I get more feelings of threats against my credibility.
Yeah.
Through my support of Michelle. If I can keep it 100 with you. Because a lot of people in my community are like, you're capping for her. And the credibility from some of these other people and higher ups and electeds and whatnot. I love them, no disrespect. But for me, this has been about
this has been about having a reputable and credible journalism. And for you,
I don't know about the J word, but community voice.
Pardon. But for you, it's also important to have this dynamic conversations with the other sides. So you bring people like me. So because you're saying
you're not other side, or you mean the other side of 5?
I'm not on the other side because I agree with a lot of policies that the mayor, creates.
Oh, I
And I
meant me. You're not on the other side of me.
No, I'm not on the other side of you. I mean, like, you bring other perspectives, basically like disagreements with the mayor. For example, I have a lot of them. Because you're saying, look, I'm not biased. My work is to be the voice of the community. I hear that. I hear you, and I love you for it. What I'm saying is that there is nothing wrong with Michelle Wu, the mayor, ensuring that somehow she is supportive of the community voice. And then there's been conversations in the community about whether or not there's a conflict, because if you're beholden to a contract, then will you be biased in your, interviews and stuff like that? And not just for you, but also for civic communities, like civic engagement associations, where they're like, oh, should the mayor give contracts or technical assistance money to civic associations? And so I would say that, there's no like real good answer for that, because the mayor has a responsibility to support and uphold platforms like yourself, community voice, people that are supporting the community. At the same time, I can see the community's perspective in terms of like that creating some sort of bias in the future. Because
you know where I would, don't give me no money. Hear me and answer me and implement. And I don't know what perfect policy. I'm good with the you done got me in a different place. The financial support, God knows it would help. I had to move, Tanya, and
yeah,
then my friends and stuff that know I had to move keep yourself together, James. All of them were like, why are you struggling? And you should be able to pick up the phone and call not just her, call all these people. Anyway,
well, sometimes sometimes not favors, but sometimes the support doesn't always have to come through a contract. It could be that, somebody
phone call, just I save my
family member with purchasing a home or something like that. But either way, you are not in this situation. I understand. What I'm saying is a lot of Black people are in this sort of like weird place where if you're transparent about it and people know, then, you're faulted for it. You're like, oh, why you have a contract, so this means you're biased, right? And beholden doesn't necessarily mean, again, it's a very sensitive place. Boston is a very deprived city. And then the victim gets blamed, and it's not fair. Like, you have a city that functions on, supporting its constituents with contracts and jobs. And then you have, a mayoral or any kind of elections that is beholden to that. So then you have people blaming you for when you want to feed your children because you want to keep your job or you want to keep your contract.
Pay the light bill, pay the rent.
Like, I don't judge anyone in that situation. I'm just saying that the system is so flawed that you force people to survive and then you judge the very people that need to survive. It is absolutely abhorrent. Like, until you have the tools to equip the system to do it better, to do it more efficiently, to do it more equitably, to do it more transparently and less conflict, then just shut your mouth and let people live. But it is what it is, though. And every mayor, not just Michelle Wu, has taken advantage of the system. She's no different. The only thing is, when you look at it in perspective in terms of like electeds of color, as she considers herself, she identifies as a woman of color, but she is white passing, and she is someone that white people, especially liberals, have more affinity for, or more tolerance or grace for.
Yep.
And so what she's allowed to get away with, a Kim Janey would never be able to get away with. What she's allowed to get away with, a Rudy Lujan would never be able to get away with.
Can I say this? What white men at the state house have been allowed to get away with around stuff, you didn't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I believe that wrong is wrong,
and right ain't nobody.
No. I believe in that wrong is wrong, and if you are accountable, you're accountable. Plain blank. I don't believe in pointing finger and be like, oh. But what I'm saying about Michelle is that she white liberals allow her a lot of more grace than they would a black
Yep.
elected. And they claim to be for us. They are creating the agendas, especially the high academics and the elitists. They are with her in her cabinet or in her on her phone, and they are moving pieces in the city. They are expediting gentrification. They are taking away parking. And I'm not saying that we should be anti-environment. I'm pro, of course, carbon emission. I'm against carbon emission, but I'm saying that we should be working to do it more strategically so we can cause less harm to people of color and those impacted. And that's plain and simple. And I think that for her to go and, you know, do these bike lanes that at some point causes issues. And again, we'll see the numbers, how effective she's been. And for those who look at like OEOI, we talked about it last time. What has OEOI produced, and how much
Can we
of that
clarify Office of Inclusion and Economic Opportunity, the money people.
The money people, but the equity cabinet specifically, sorry, not OEOI, the equity cabinet specifically, how much have they done to actually improve? And then, you know, those who don't understand, right? Those who don't understand will say like, oh, but they have this department. And now here comes the federal government. And I have not followed up with what's going on with the investigation with the city and the funds and the ARPA dollars.
Yeah, the audit.
I haven't even been reading the news because, you know, you get traumatized and you don't read the news, but you see the pattern. And in terms of like, if you're going to speak about equity, she ran on the premises that she is a woman of color and that she cares about equity and that she cares about advancement of, you know, economic development of the most vulnerable. And then when she comes in, she realizes, oh, snap, real estate is power. I have to do BPDA differently. Oh, snap, actually, this works this way. So I have to move carefully. And it behooves any mayor to come in and use resources like Madison Park, for example. If you go and you try to use only city dollars for Madison Park development, it's not smart. So you have to go and get some state money. And people are like,
sponsorships and partnerships.
People are going to be upset about the delay because over decades of waiting. But guess what? That was perpetuated by those before her, right? So her predecessors caused this delay. And then you look at, other situations like, you know, O'Brien. Good intentions, bad policy, racist policies. And when you look at numbers and how it impacts Black people, you're like, oh, this is racist. And then people are like, oh, it's not about color. She's doing great. It's like, well, yes, because maybe should slow down and pay attention to how the community is responding. And what she does is she moves really fast on implementing her policies because, again, she has a checklist.
You think she moves? Hold on. You think she moves fast?
Yes.
I think Michelle is slow as hell sometimes.
No, she moves very fast with her agenda. She told me specifically in front of a community that she has a list of things that she wants to do, and that she knew that in her first term that she would have 4 years to get them done, and that sometimes that meant that she couldn't listen to community voice all the time or be inclusive of everybody or voice, because sometimes it meant that she had to move past that. That's why she said
that in a public meeting.
I have about 30 witnesses to that comment.
Oh, I thought you said just the open public meeting, but I'm not questioning whether it was said. I thought you just said a public meeting, which is, you know,
Breonna Malore was there and some other folks. So when she said that, people of course reacted like, wait a minute. And I understood what she was trying to say. Like, Michelle is, you know, really smart, educated, but she's not very good on her feet in responding right away when things are emotional. So like, you have to like try to understand the person. And I understand what she was trying to say, but at the same time, it showed that she's
a politician.
It showed her inexperience. It showed that, yes, as an executive, like it showed that.
And I mean, in observation, these are just facts. And for any troll that's watching or whatever, and me and Michelle, we good. We know. You went from college to internship or fellow to city council. the most you ever managed was what, 4 people, depending on how you chopped up your budget as a city councilor. And so that management and she said it, she was on a, and you said it, she was on a learning curve. You go from managing 6 to what, 200,000, how many city
Right.
employees, to a budget of budget and assets, I think over 4 billion, or 4.
Right.
So that is real. That
So
is very, very
when you
real.
put it in
But I
context,
was
if she was white, a white guy, we would just be like, oh, he's a boss. He knows what he's doing, moving fast, and oh, so effective. But she's a woman, and she's a woman of color, so it's kind of like you're doing too much, you're doing too fast. And it's like, yes, but can we have that conversation in a different tone? And so I never felt like that I never felt it necessary to disparage her, like in the council chamber. I never felt it necessary to do that, because I was like, I'm not qualified to judge her. I'm not in her shoes, no, nor do I want to be. I'm not qualified to judge her, so I'm not going to say anything and disparage her. But I do disagree with her policies, and I hope that gives a little context to what I mean by
it gave a whole, not of only context, but as much, and I'll say it's about maybe 65-35. You said what you had to say about policies, disagreements, and whatnot. But what you sat here and did in these last 10 minutes was you gave a whole bunch of balance to naming the nature of the system, with also maybe some of observed character, decision making, or whatever. And that for me is among everything you did, that balance and just honesty and transparency is paramount. In addition, because this aspects of this that was a master class.
there's this one, thank you. There is this one additional dimension to that, though. She rules with an iron fist when it's necessary, because she knows that she has to invest in her own advancement. And what she does is, for example, what happened to me, if you look at it from like just, a case study, and she came out immediately. Of course, she heard that the investigation was happening months in advance, right? But she comes out when it's time, when it's convenient, right? Election season's about to start, and she hits me. Bam! She should resign. She's awful. She got to go. And so she didn't say I'm awful, but the tone of it. And so in that sense, in that sense, I feel like she, for example, when the sheriff's thing came out, and she was just like, well, due process, we should wait, we should be patient. And so a lot of people contacted me asking me, do you think that Michelle Wu is against Black women? Because she's very harsh on Black women. She endorses against Black women. She's, when this happened to you, she gave you no grace. Nothing had came out other than there's an investigation. Michelle decided she should resign immediately. But when Sheriff's thing came out, she said what she said. That's because the sheriff is very loved and well liked and had way more power in the community. And she knew that it impacted her votes too, to go against this Black man. And she had already created this pattern. So she had to give him grace, but didn't give me any. Like, she didn't even allow time for things to sort of play out. She just immediately said that. And then Ruzi, of course, had to do it too, because Ruzi's concerned about what the media is going to say about her as a woman, as a person in charge. And as a Black woman, they would definitely say that she's a horrible leader, being, Black and the council president, and not calling for my resignation when the mayor has called for my resignation. Of course, there's back conversations. I'm quite sure Michelle and her talked about it, and they decided what position they were going to take before they went on and did it. But Ruzi, as I'm sure she felt bad about it. And, again, there's the grace that you give, because you understand that, say that tomorrow the world was going to end and you had an opportunity to talk to the people that hurt you or that said things about you, like all of this stuff would become non-applicable. You would just talk about how much you love each other and you forgive each other and you just move on. So I don't think it's necessary for any of us. If you want to go into politics, and I'm speaking to the public now, if you want to go into the politics, understand that it is a lot to maneuver, the relationships, the different types of leveraging, and
negotiations and
negotiations, and the back and forth that you have to do. And to be effective, again, I really believe that you cannot be a really effective counselor if you are fully transparent with your constituents. And I was partially effective, but then there was things that I feel like I could have built on had I been more on that side of things. And I came in too hard and too fast. You know, you saw the examples. Lara came in too hard and too fast. Mejia, I think, is way smarter than people give her credit for, where she's found her voice and she understands exactly who she is. She struggles a bit with, you know, as women, we struggle with like giving ourselves compliments and, you know, owning her power. She speaks loudly and strong, but she is brilliant and she doesn't give herself enough credit. But she's found a way to maneuver this thing where she can do the posturing of transparency and fighting and all of that, but at the same time use her diplomacy skills to be able to maneuver relationships as well. So she does it masterfully. And here
he does, but it's two of them she does it with, and I'm just like, I would never. But anyway, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, so it's not like she is inviting them to her house for coffee.
I know.
And it's not like she sides with them on votes that she knows is going to hurt her people. So if she is kind and polite and diplomatic with them, that is her job. Her job is to be a professional and be kind and diplomatic. But you had, you know, Tania, who's a bulldog, and Tania came in like, what? I'll bite your head off. And so you got, but you got, and then you got like Lara, who was like, anything. Anyway, I'm a socialist and I'm here for the people. I don't care what you say.
I miss her on and seeing some of that. What you call it? Tashad said an accurate assessment of Julia. Tania, we got to wrap up because at 54 with two cups of coffee at 90 minutes, I got it. Jesus. But no, this was a masterclass. And one of the things I am glad that we covered was I know that there's a perception that I'm on payroll and stuff. So I'm glad that you asked. And I'm glad I got to also just get some things out because I'm going to put that back up on social media just for some of the trolls to know. But masterclass, thank you for the opportunity to be transparent and open up. Thank you for also naming what a lot of people have said to me privately about and you know, I struggle. I'm 50-50. Could I use the support? Absolutely, I could use the support. Do I necessarily want it with the air of the impression? That's why I said no to the campaign, you know, because there is the other side of I should have been compensated for some of the work. I did some work and did not get compensated. And
if I may, wouldn't you be also helping Michelle's credibility on not like being so vindictive as people say in the community? That if you and she does just like the good old boys. She is. If you're not with her, you're against her. Cut them off. That's how she rules. So
ask.
But if you're a friend or an ally of sorts, then if she's okay with your transparency and your ethics, then shouldn't she just say to you, you are free to do this in the platform in the way that you need to for community voice. And I am going to allow an RFP to allow you an opportunity to apply. And you can do that and you will not be threatened.
I don't care about that. With all due respect to her, I don't care about that concern. It's the concern of the community.
My point is, if the opportunity is allowed without that, then you can, never mind. This is my, I think, council brain trying to go into problem solving. I'm saying that you can put this, you can start, or you can put out disclaimers. Yes, this is how we're funded, but also I am going to hold the city accountable.
I did that when she purchases the campaign. I did it in the line of questioning on the campaign trail in 21. And even when I did the things with John Barrows, like they had an agenda of advertising, and I said, this is what I think we need to cover. And I do that with all my partners and whatnot. The one thing I love about this, one, it taught me grit. And I've had Tania, When I tell you I've had to hustle, there's a vendor on here right now that I still owe $3,500. I've had to hustle, but not one individual, not one municipality, not one bank, not one entity, not one grant, not one nothing. Nobody can come and say, we did this. It's been through some grants, some media buys and stuff, and an organic support of this community. And so you and I need to go sit down and have kind of, because you got a whole business mind as well. You got a whole fashion line and all that other stuff. And so last time was 3 hours. This one, I think, with someone put a comment early on that you were exuding the freedom because everything's behind you. This masterclass, little therapeutic session for me, and also just some observations that I think are going to clean up the lenses of a lot of residents that watch this about how they watch, observe, understand, and hold accountable with grace their elected officials, because it's a mixed bag. Ooh, I learned a lot today. I did.
Yeah, it's okay. So about the therapeutic part, I would like for you to let go of anything that leads to guilt, because guilt leads to fear, and fear is your worst enemy.
Yeah.
If you don't need you don't need reassurance from nobody, and only your creator, and you don't need anyone to reassure you that you're okay, that you're not biased, that you're not this, you're not that. If you are okay with God, and you have built that relationship and you know that you're doing the right thing, I would say go for the resources that are available, because you as a Black man need to be able to sustain your business. And I would say let go and don't have any fear or any guilt of anything, because you know you're doing the right thing, and then you know you have your relationship tight with God. As far as, the state of like the council presidency, I would say to people, encourage Councilor Jen to vote for Brian. He deserves it. He worked really, really, really hard for it. He is competent. He is a leader. He does have a backbone. He is extremely smart, and he knows exactly how to do this work. Right now, he is the best qualified. So don't think that your phone call or your email doesn't count. Line up people and email Ruzi by the hundreds. Let her know that we're watching and it is not okay. We need to support Brian. And for the rest of the council, don't let them get away with it. Santana and Pepin, men of color, one who is Black, and they have like this whole narrative. He can say that it's messy, that the process has been messy, to try to sort of give the appearance that he is being transparent. But the transparent that is necessary here is for him to say, that's my girl and I'm sticking with my girl, or it is what it is. I'm looking out for myself and I want to be council president, a vice president. But it's not fair. There is no way that Santana aligns more with Coletta than he does with Brian. And there is no way that they can tell me, watching the last few years with Brian, that they believe that Coletta is the most qualified right now to be council president. That is absolutely atrocious. And Ruzi, keep your word. You said what you said. You need to vote for Council Worrell. And Council Mejia, I applaud you for the fight. Go get them, as always. And Jimmy, I appreciate this conversation. I hope for those of you at home, for D7 constituents, I love you dearly. And I want the best for you. And in my own evolutionary process, I hope to be able to come up to stuff and learn my lessons and be able to continue to be there as part of the community and do what is best for us as one community, one human community. I can't but tell you how much love, from all people, all races, all sexual orientation, everyone in District 7, maybe 3 or 4 people sent me emails saying, they were disappointed, but it's mostly because they were feeling hurt and they wanted me to resign or not come back. But for the most part, D7 as a whole is the strongest district in Boston. Sorry, the other districts.
That's why we're fought so much.
Listen.
Tanya, I'm getting texts from team and individual. Jimmy, wrap up. You're turning red and you're getting emotional and you're tired.
Oh.
I know because I
all right. Thank you, Jimmy.
No, you're good. I thank you for the affirmation. Stephanie Everett said something similar to what you said, that if the end of the day, if we can walk past the mirror and we can look at ourselves and know that we're good with God, I added a little bit extra there. That is, so the therapeutic is a little spiritual too. And this platform is always available for you to mobilize, inform, instruct, educate, and then also, when you get ready to let us know, what's next for you. Hi, Susie. Susie's in.
I love Susie.
Yeah. Keep us, you can drop here first.
Peace be upon you.
Peace to you also, sister. And I appreciate you, and be strengthened. And I love the aura of your spirit, and what the enemy meant for evil, God meant for good. And Bishop Bragg used to preach this thing. It had to happen and happen that way in order for what's next. So
I'm grateful for it all. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You sound like Marvin Sapp now. Grateful for it all. Anyway, love you, sis, and I'll be in touch.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Folks, I hope you were inspired, encouraged. I hope you learned some things about the process. I believe her and Councilor Mejia, Zapata too, she gave the charter. Mejia gave a lot of the background, and then so did Tanya as well. But I hope you all learned something this week about this whole process, about our voice, about authenticity. One of the things I'm walking away from this is that I'm glad I didn't get into I'm in it, but into an elected office in politics, because she's on her last 2 episodes has basically been like, no, James, it's never going to happen. And I appreciate her realness. The other thing is, a lot of you saw me get a little emotional. A lot of you heard the conversation about some private conversations and mayor's relationships, but the mayor and I's relationship, personal policy, and what's a P word from money? Prosperity. Personal policy and prosperity. I wish I would find out that one of her folks ran back and tried to set up some disparaging things to make yourself look good. But then on the other side, it is real. So I'm going to get ready to wrap up. And right now we're here tomorrow at 10 a.m. with some just review of our Christmas show from WGBH 2 years ago. It's been a year. So y'all haven't seen it in a year. So anyway, congratulations to the Boston lesbian urban gay. Congrats to Blue, Curtis, Elikesha on getting their grant from the Office of Reentry. I hope that you all use that funds, Curtis, to talk about that gamut of brothers, the DL that, anyway, I'm getting off of here. I'm tired. We've done 2.5 hours plus today. Shut up, Curtis. Jesus. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. with our Christmas Eve show. All right. Have a great day, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon. I'm tired. Peace, y'all.